Hi, my name's Vernia, and I'm a fern. I first appeared in the fossil recorded 360 million years ago. Yep, million years ago, in the late Devonian period. But many of my current families and species did not appear until roughly 145 million years ago in the early Cretaceous, after flowering plants came to dominate many environments. Ferns and their allies were dominant from vascular plants to Mixotic era, when the seed-bearing plants came into prominence. There is also fossil evidence of ferns in the Devonian era, and they evolved from the first vascular plants that had evolved in the similar era. To make the transition from water to land, in the Silurian, plants developed a way to obtain the water and nutrients that they needed for growth. They also needed to develop an epidermis that could retard the loss of water to the air and stoma to the epidermis to breathe. That's good.
All plants undergo a life cycle that takes them through both haploid and diploid generations. My dominant generation is sporophyte life cycle. I am an asexual and spore-bearing generation. It is a diploid stage of ferns.
As a fern, I do have true roots, stems, and leaves, meaning that they all contain vascular tissue. My leaves are considered to be megaphylls, meaning they have several vascular strands in them. My leaves are also known as fronds, and when they first emerge, they are often tightly coiled and called fiddleheads, since they resemble the very top part of a fiddle. The upper surface of each of my fronds is coated with a cuticle that helps me retain water. The stems of most of us ferns are underground. The fronds arise from that underground stem known as a rhizome. Roots are attached to my rhizome and serve as an anchor as well as absorbing water and nutrients from the soil for me. I have neither seeds nor flowers, but reproduce via spores. On the underside of my fronds are sporangia. Within the sporangia are spore-producing cells called sporogenous cells. The sporangia are usually in clusters known as sori, found on the underside of my leaves. When the spores are mature, they are released from the sporangia. If a spore lands on a suitable site, it will germinate and grow via mitosis into a mature gamete-producing plant. Another method of reproduction we use is called clonal spreading. Underground rhizomes grow and sprout new sporophyte plants. Huge clonal colonies of us ferns have been found that are made up of thousands of individual clonal plants called rametes. This extensive clonal spreading is especially adaptive, as our long lifespan and extensive competition for space with other plants allows ferns to quickly become the dominant plant in newer areas of the forests. When we first start out, most fronds are homosporous, each having spores of usually 30 to 50 centimeters in length or diameter. However, once we grow up, because we are vascular plants, our size can vary a lot. The vascular parts of us allow us to transport nutrients all throughout us and doesn't limit our size. Because of this, there are many species of ferns all ranging in size, from ferns that are less than 1 foot to some that are over 20, becoming tree-sized. In large ferns like that, the fronds can be as big as 9 feet long. The size that we grow really depends on our environment and how much room and nutrients we have access to.
Well, hello there. I bet you're wondering what are other examples of pterophytes.
Well, one example is a fern, which is me. Another example is a club moss, horsetails, and whisk ferns.
The club mosses and horsetails are also seedless vascular plants. Like ferns, club mosses and horsetails have true leaves, stems, and roots. They also have a similar life cycle. There are relatively few species of club mosses and horsetails alive today, unlike the fern that has over 800. Club mosses, sometimes called ground pine or princess pine, look like the small branch of a pine tree. Club mosses usually grow in moist woodlands and near streams. Horsetails have long, coarse, needle-like branches that grow in a circle around each joint. Small leaves grow flat against the stem just above each joint. The stems contain silica, a gritty substance also found in sand. Before I say goodbye, let me just remind you about the most interesting bits about me. My family and I evolved 360 million years ago during the Devonian period. My dominant generation is the sporophyte generation. I do have true roots, leaves, and stems. I do not produce seeds or flowers, but I do use spores to reproduce. As for my size, I can be anywhere from 1 foot tall to over 20 feet tall. And some common examples you might see besides me, the fern, are the club moss and the horsetails. Thanks for listening to my story. Bye!